Hi! If you're a beginner gardener or just curious about extending your garden season, this video is for you. Hi there, gardening friend. Welcome back to Gingerfoot Garden. I'm Lani, and today we're diving into some easy steps to help you get started with fall gardening. So let's jump right in with 10 simple tips to make your fall garden a success. Tip number 1, choose the right plants. In the fall, it's best to plant cool weather vegetables. Leafy greens like spinach, lettuce, kale, and collard greens are great options for beginner gardeners. If you have a trellis already set up, it's a good time to plant peas for a fall harvest. Fast-growing root crops like radishes and beets and carrots also do well in cool weather and are ready to harvest in less than 2 months. You can also plant onion sets and garlic cloves for a harvest next spring or summer. Broccoli, cauliflower, kohlrabi, and cabbages thrive in cooler temperatures as summer ends, but if you're new to gardening, I suggest sticking to the easier crops first, like the leafy greens. Tip number 2, you've got options. You can either plant seeds directly in the garden, like radishes and lettuce, or use transplants for crops like broccoli and cauliflower. Personally, I prefer starting seeds indoors to stop the plants from bolting, which is when a plant tries to flower and go to seed. If you're new to gardening, using transplants can be a great shortcut to success. However, in my experience, it's not always easy to find transplants at the garden centers because fall gardening isn't as popular. If you already have seeds, it's much simpler to just sow them, especially for leafy greens. Tip number 3, know your frost dates. It's really helpful to know when your first frost is expected so you can plan your planting accordingly. In my area, the first frost usually happens sometime between September 21st and November 20th. There are plenty of online tools that can help you find your first frost dates. Just Google first frost date in your zip code and you should be able to get the info you need to plan your fall garden. Tip number 4, clear out those summer crops. It's time to let go of plants that are done producing and clear the space for your fall veggies to take over. I get it. If you're a first-time gardener, this can be tough. I remember how hard it was for me to pull out the plants when I first started, but trust me, there's something refreshing about making room for new growth, especially when it leads to tasty cool weather crops. Tip number 5, refresh your soil. After that summer growth, your soil must be tired. Add compost or organic fertilizer to give your fall plants the nutrients they need to grow strong and healthy. Tip number 6, water smartly. In the cooler months, plants don't need as much water since evaporation slows down. However, you still want to keep them from drying out. A good way to check is by feeling the soil. If it's dry, give it a deep watering. Mornings are the best time to water so your plants can soak up the moisture before the cooler night temperature sets in. Tip number 7, use row covers. They are your best friends. As the nights start to cool down, you can help your plants by covering them with row covers. It's like giving them a cozy blanket to protect them from light frost. I'll link a video in the description showing how I made my own DIY row covers, plus a link to the cover system from Vigo Garden. Just so you know, this isn't a sponsored video, but I do have an affiliate partnership with them, so check it out if you're interested. If the winter season is mild in your area, just like here in Maryland, you may be able to enjoy the cool season crops until early spring. Tip number 8, keep an eye on pests. It's true that there are fewer pests in the fall, but that doesn't mean the bugs are completely gone. Keep an eye on your plants and handle any critters before they turn into bigger issue. Brassicas like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, and collards are especially attractive to white cabbage moth. These moths lay eggs that turn into caterpillars, which munch on your plant's leaves. You can pick them off by hands or use Bacillus thuringiensis or BT for caterpillars to deal with them. Another option is to use insect netting to cover your plants and stop the moth from laying eggs in the first place. Tip number 9, harvest gradually and regularly. Many fall crops like leafy greens let you harvest a little at a time by cutting just the outer leaves. This way, you can keep enjoying your fresh produce for longer. Harvesting regularly actually encourages the plants to keep producing more, so you'll have a steady supply of fresh greens. And finally, tip number 10, feed your plant. The type of fertilizer you use depends on the vegetable you're growing. Leafy greens need more nitrogen, while root and flowering plants benefit from phosphorus and potassium. It's a good idea to feed your plant once or twice a month. I like using fish fertilizer for leafy greens, and an all-purpose fertilizer works well for root veggies and plants like broccoli and cabbages that warm heads. Fall gardening is a slower pace compared to summer, but that's part of the beauty. Take your time, watch your plants grow, and enjoy the cooler weather. Gardening is all about patience and finding joy in the little things. That's it. Those are my 10 tips for beginner fall gardeners. I hope this video gives you the confidence to get out there and start your first fall garden. If you found this helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Gingerfoot Garden for more tips and inspiration. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.